Yeah, tell everybody.
Let's call to order. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Marcus Major is absent. Andrew Gribble.
Here.
Robert Owens.
Here.
Steve Skeet.
Here.
Doug Testa.
Here.
I'm here. William Gutchick.
Here.
Daniel Clemens.
Present.
Jaden Bailey.
Here.
And Joshua Zane.
Here.
Do I have a motion of approval of the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the minutes of the last meeting be approved as written.
Second. Okay, roll call vote. Andrew Gribble.
Yes.
Robert Owens.
Yes.
Steve Skeet.
Yes.
Doug Tyson.
Yes.
Yes. William Gutchick.
Yes.
Daniel Clemens.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Joshua Zane.
Yes.
Okay, Secretary's report.
All right, good afternoon, or good evening, Commissioners. On the agenda today, you have 3 items on the consent agenda. So once you approve the agenda, those items will automatically be approved unless you would like to remove one. On the regular agenda, we have 3 subdivision actions that you will need to take, 2 special use permit requests, and then the annual review of the comprehensive plan. I just also wanted to let everybody in the audience know 2 things. One, if you are coming up to talk during the public comment section, please make sure to sign in at the sign-in sheet on that table back there. And then also there is additional seating in the planning and zoning office. And we do have the TVs with the recording live going, so please feel free to take advantage of that if you so wish. We will make sure everybody has an opportunity to speak during all public hearings. Otherwise, that is all.
Okay. Do we have any declarations? Do I have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
Consent agenda.
Consent agenda.
Should I say something?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Andrew Gribble.
Yes.
Robert Owens.
Yes.
Steve Skeet.
Yes.
Doug Tyson.
Yes.
Yes. William Gutchick.
Yes.
Daniel Clemens.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Joshua Zane.
Yes. Before we go any further, we need to make one adjustment to last month's members present. We need to add Steve Skeet to members was present. He's not as a present member last month.
Did you want to amend the motion for the minutes then?
Better,
Yes, yes, we need to amend that.
Okay, so you're going to strike your original
We're easy
motion?
to overlook. Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I move that we approve the minutes as amended by Mr. Owens, by Commissioner Owens, please.
Second. Second. Roll call vote. Andrew Gribble.
Yes.
Robert Owens.
Yes.
Steve Skeet.
Yes.
Doug Tyson.
Yes.
Yes. William Gotchick.
Yes.
Daniel Clemens.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
And Joshua Zane.
Yes.
Apparently it wasn't sitting there.
Nope.
I had seconded your motion.
Moving on to the regular agenda. 9A. The Leavenworth County Planning Commission will now hear case DEV-26-040 boundary line adjustment exception for Stauffer as outlined in the posted agenda. This is not a public hearing item. The planning staff will now give the staff report.
All right, good evening, gentlemen. This case is case DEV 26-040. The applicants They are requesting an exception from the zoning subdivision regulations of Article 50, Section 40.3I. That's your lot depth to lot width ratio for Track 2 on the proposed boundary line adjustment. Since this exceeds the 1-to-4 ratio by approximately 222 feet. That exception is for just Track 2. The proposed layout allows for all the residential structures and the existing pond to remain on Track 2. Further analysis of that exception can be found on page 2 of your staff report. Exceptions are based upon 3 criteria needed for that approval. The applicant is here to discuss the request further and to answer questions that you might have. With that being said, I am open to questions you may have.
Does the applicant wish to speak?
Good evening. Joe Herring, Herring Surveying, 315 North 5th Street. Staff covered that. The idea is to get the pond and an accessory structure, a spot for it to be constructed behind the house and keep everything on one track. The limits along the main road is kind of developed out to the north and developed to the south, so they really don't have any other way of getting additional road frontage to extend to the south. So it's just a simple exception to expand to further enhance his property and then keep the rest for future development. It has a 60-foot strip up north with an entrance already onto, I believe I labeled it Track 1. So here to answer any questions.
So that would be the entrance if they further develop Track 1, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And that will cause most likely an exception?
I don't know if it'll cause an exception or a plating process, but that will be resolved at the time if somebody comes and wants to pull a permit or develop it.
Okay. So the applicant does not wish to do a easement in Track 2, correct?
That is correct, yeah. No easement in accessing through his residential for that track.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Is there any additional information?
No, sir.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from the members of the commission? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve of the exception.
Mr. Chairman, I hereby move that we approve an exception from Article 50, Section 40.3.I, lot width to lot depth to lot width ratio in conformance with the zoning and subdivision regulations for case DEV 26-040 as submitted by the application based on a finding that all 3 criteria for an exception have been met.
Okay.
Second.
Is there discussion of the motion? Okay. Roll call vote. Andrew Gribble,
Yes.
Robert Owens,
Yes.
Steve Skeet,
Yes.
Bill Tyston,
Yes.
William Gutchick,
Yes.
Daniel Clemens,
Yes.
Jaden Bailey,
Yes.
and Joshua Zanger.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Moving on to 9B. Leavenworth County Planning Commission will now hear case DEV-26-042, boundary line adjustment exception for height/Dill Trust is outlined in the posted agenda. This is not a public hearing item. Planning staff will now give the staff report.
All right. Case DEV 26042 is a boundary line adjustment request for the properties located at 0000 and 24458 259th Street. This is right on the county line. The applicant is wishing to adjust their property line south to acquire approximately 3 acres to the south of their current house site. The adjoining property owner is willing to do that. However, based off of where the existing driveway comes into the property and where it is accessed, it does not meet the 1-to-1 lot width to lot depth ratio requirement. It exceeds by approximately 334 feet. The applicant has requested an exception to this. Their narrative was provided in the staff report. If you have any questions, their agent is also in attendance and they will be happy to provide a response.
Does the applicant wish to speak?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Crystal Both, Atlas Land Consulting, 14500 Parallel Avenue, Basehor, Kansas. I think Amy did a great job summing that up. I don't really have much to say. Obviously, there's road frontage on both sides of this, so with the existing driveway, there's just not any way to meet that width to depth ratio, although it is generally a conforming lot, right? It's not an irregular lot in any way, shape, or form, so we appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Questions? Are there any comments? Is there any additional information to be presented?
No, sir.
Ahead of myself. Are there questions or comments from the members of the commission? I will entertain a motion to approve the exception.
Mr. Chairman, I hereby move to approve the exception from Article 50, Section 40.3.I, lot depth to lot width ratio in conformance with the zoning and subdivision regulations for case DEV 26-042, as submitted by the application based on a finding that all three criteria for an exception have been met.
Second.
Is there discussion of the motion? Okay. Do a roll call vote. Andrew Gribble,
Yes.
Robert Owens,
Yes.
Steve Skeet,
Yes.
Doug Tysted,
Yes.
William Butchick,
Yes.
Daniel Clemens,
Yes.
Jaden Bailey,
Yes.
and Joshua Zanger.
Yes.
All right. Moving on. Item 9C. Logan County Planning Commission will now hear case DEB-26-062. The plat exception for Creekstone Ridge is outlined in the posted agenda. This is not a public hearing item. Planning staff will now give the staff reports.
All right, gentlemen, this case is case DEB 26-062. The applicants are requesting an exception from the zoning and subdivision regulation of Article 50, Section 40.2A. That is your road connectivity regulation. The applicants are proposing a replat of lots 3 and 5 of the Creekstone Ridge subdivision. They're requesting to build an interior subdivision road off of 178th Street. County regulations require new subdivisions to make provisions for the continuation of existing streets and adjoining subdivisions. Since there is a adjoining subdivision with the road right-of-way that extends to the shared property line, the new road should connect to West Ridge Road in order to comply with regulations. The applicants are requesting an exception to this regulation and to connect to 178th Street instead of West Ridge Road. Further analysis of that exception can be found within your staff report. Those exceptions are based upon the 3 criteria needed for that approval. As a note, this action is only for the road connectivity exception, and it does not apply for the approval of the preliminary plat. That will come at a later date. The applicants is here to discuss the request further and to answer any questions you may have. With that being said, I am open to your questions.
Does the applicant wish to speak?
Joe Herring Surveying, 315 North 5th Street. Yes, this is about the 4th rendition of this plat to be presented to the county. The existing road that's shown here is less than the 750 feet. And yes, there is a connecting road to the east that is impeded by a pretty good drainage ditch. And we did submit a drawing that would allow that and some plans to go through there, but in crossing that ditch required acquisition of easements from the neighboring property to the north of that road, which we cannot force, as developers cannot force an easement, and they were not willing to provide an easement. So we went back to the original layout of coming off of 178th and replatting those lots, with the exception of not extending that road through. Again, it is under the 750 feet, and it's really comes out to be the most feasible way to get this done for some additional houses within that development. Any questions?
Joe, did I hear you say the developer on the property to the east did not want to give an easement to carry the road through?
The owner, there's a road easement. The owner to the north, we'd have to get a drainage easement or realign the road in a manner that just made it not realistic. And in talking with staff, it was decided to attempt to come back this way. It seemed the lesser of two evils. We'll have an exception one way or the other. This one seems to be the best use of the property, and we're not taking the through road through a development, which they've been on a cul-de-sac probably since the 90s, 80s, 90s. Well, not even a cul-de-sac, it just kind of dead ends in a guy's driveway. And then making that a through road along State Avenue, so it'd be a reverse frontage road.
But it would not be a through road all the way over to 178?
The Westridge.
The west road?
That's the one coming from the east going west, was laid out for a road to extend, but for whatever reason was not required to build it, and a bond was not there, and it stopped at a ditch. I mean, there was common sense why it didn't happen, but from a planning perspective, it was, it didn't work out so well. And I'm not a planner, but that's, just what I've been told by somebody.
Okay. But in your drawing, it did kind of show that it would, if you continued west, and I understand the culvert issue, but it terminated in a cul-de-sac right in the middle of the track and did not continue over to 178 or to the street on the west. Is that correct?
The other drawing that we had,
Yeah.
yes, it did. You guys have approved a plat of the lots all along 178, so it was that back track where the cul-de-sac now is proposed was in essence landlocked from 178, so it could not go through. And that was the plan until we hit the road bump of
So again, Commissioner, maybe I can hop in here. Yeah, the original plan was never to connect to 178.
Okay.
It was a cul-de-sac either way. So this is the current layout, the cul-de-sac.
And this just makes more sense because it's shorter.
Well, it makes sense for a couple of different reasons, but yeah, that's one of the reasons.
same amount of houses, less road to maintain and build. So it's,
Okay. There's no issue with setback, or not setback, but with the frontage as far as taking the road off the east or the western line?
No, same number of lots, and again, they'll approach you with an amended preliminary plat and then a final plat that will address all the frontage issues.
Okay.
But
All right.
yeah, it doesn't impact.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
thank you.
Good.
There you
Thank
go.
you, Joe.
Appreciate it.
Is there any additional information to be presented?
No, sir.
Are there questions or comments from the members of the commission? I will entertain a motion to approve the exception.
Mr. Chairman, I hereby recommend approval of an exception from Article 50, Section 40.2.a, road connectivity in conformance with the zoning and subdivision regulations for case DEV 26062, as submitted by the application based on finding that all three criteria for an exception have been met.
Second.
there discussion of the motion? Roll call vote. Andrew Gribble,
Yes.
Robert Owens,
Yes.
Steve Skeet,
Yes.
Doug Tyson,
Yes.
William Gotchick,
Yes.
Daniel Clemens,
Yes.
Jaden Bailey,
Yes.
Josh Rosano.
Yes.
Passes 8. 9C. The Leavenworth County Planning Commission will now consider case DEV-25-021, a special use permit for the extraction of raw materials, sand excavation and stockpiling business for Carl Valley as outlined in the posted agenda. This requires a public hearing. Public comment portion limited to 5 minutes. Planning staff will now give the staff report.
Case DEV 25021 is a special use permit request that this body heard at their November 2025 meeting. A recommendation was given, and the Board of County Commissioners then considered that recommendation on the March 25th, 2026 meeting. The applicant suggested the possibility of substantial changes to their application. The Board of County Commissioners remanded this application back to the Planning Commission for another public hearing to consider the newly proposed haul route, retail sales from the site, as well as other proposed changes. The Board of County Commissioners further directed the Planning Commission to evaluate the modified application under all applicable criteria, including golden factors, and to develop an updated record and recommendation for consideration by the Commission. The applicant provided an email dated March 25th, 2026, stating no changes are proposed for the application. That is on file. However, they did offer 2 alternatives if the Planning Commission or County Commissioners wish to consider them. Since they did not formally amend their application, staff did not review the proposed alternatives. Staff have resubmitted the application from the November 12th, 2026 meeting and recommends that the Planning Commission conduct a new public hearing to review the application and develop an updated record and recommendation for the remand. If you have any further questions, that email dated March 25th, 2026 with the attached statement referring to any of the alternatives that the applicant proposed, if you guys wish to review them, was supplied in your application or your staff report packet. However, if you have any further questions, please feel free to address those to staff.
Okay, I'm just going to take a minute to address the board because items, you have seen remands before, but it's not something that happens all the time. So as Amy set out, this matter was heard at the County Commission. They sent it back on a remand specifically to do 3 things. 1, to conduct a new public hearing regarding any modifications to the application, including possible new haul route, potential retail sales, and reclamation plan, and any other material changes. They ask that the Planning Commission evaluate the application as modified under the applicable approval criteria, including the golden factors, and then to develop an updated recommendation for the Commission's consideration. The applicant has indicated that their underlying proposal has not changed, but they have expressed a willingness to discuss modifications to the proposed special conditions, and they are going to be here during the public hearing and can answer questions that the Planning Commission proposes to them. After the public hearing, you can then submit your original recommendation to the Commission. You can provide an updated recommendation to the Commission. I would also like to note for the Planning Commission's benefit that certain issues that may come up during the public hearing may fall outside of the scope of land use determination. We discussed previously that any evaluation of the road and any improvements that would be needed per county policy is something that would occur by a contracted third-party engineer only after a special use permit was granted. Similarly, the applicant may talk to you about a proposed development agreement and any possible terms of that, including proposed royalty fees or tippage of tonnage. Those are also considerations that are not land use considerations. Those are something for the Commission to consider, though you may hear about it today.
So if they didn't change their application, and there's no additional stuff that the staff has reconsidered because they didn't change their applications, how would that affect the outcome?
And it's kind of similar to what he said, but as I brought up in our last session, and I was told that we can't do this, I would like to hear from the applicants of additional information that they're going to give us on what they are going to do for the county. If I can legally ask that, I would like to hear what they want to submit, what they're willing to do.
Okay, so I'm going to address these questions first, Commissioner Owens, then I'm going to come over to you with Mr. Clemens here. So as I just spoke about, the applicant may choose to talk to you about a variety of things. Your criteria for today is based on the golden factors and land use. So while it may be interesting to hear and good for the Planning Commission, your determination needs to be based on the criteria and the golden factors. Now, regarding your question, the applicant has not, and the attorney is here, can also speak more to it. They have not formally modified their application. I think during discussion at the commission, different proposals came up. There's been a lot of discussion in the community about haul routes, different possibilities, and the commission felt like they did not have enough information that was part of the record to consider all of those things. Hence the remand to have those discussions tonight.
Any other questions for Ms. King?
I do have one more. What was the term on this? The term on the SUP, was it a 5-year SUP, 10-year, unlimited, or what are we talking about?
Are you talking about the staff recommendation?
Yes. What did staff recommend on the
recommendation
SUP?
was for a 3-year special use permit.
But the original request was for 25.
I believe that is correct. Within their narrative, they have requested 25.
Ready to move on.
Can
Go ahead.
do this first? Mr. Chairman, if you would allow me, one of the things when I saw this come up and I saw that the applicant had not changed their proposal, except unless the commission asked them about changes, I asked the planning committee to provide us with what we did at our meeting in November when we denied the application. Because what I wanted to do personally, and I think we as a committee should do, was review the factors, the golden factors that led us to deny or to recommend disapproval. And so if you would allow me, Mr. Chairman, let me just quickly review these. And I think this follows legal. Okay. All right. So we moved that the proposed special use permit as outlined in case DED 25-021 be denied in accordance with the recommendation and findings of the Planning Commission regarding the golden factors and as substantiated by the facts, testimony, and evidence. And the Planning Commission recommendation, we voted 9-0 to recommend denial on the grounds that the application did not meet the following golden factors. Factor 1, the proposed application does not match the character of the neighborhood, specifically the zoning district along the proposed route of travel, which we discussed at length is mostly along Golden Road. Factor 2, the use does not match the zoning or nearby uses when considering the proposed route of travel. Again, our focus was the route. Factor 4, the application is detrimental to nearby property in terms of the roads and proposed route of travel. The proposed use will tear down the road. And then factor 6, while there is a gain to the economic development if the road is expanded at the expense of the applicant, there is not a gain to the health, safety, and welfare, especially based on the route of travel. And as I remember our discussion then, there was a discussion of a figure of about $7 million for a an agreement, a development agreement, but I understand that's not, other than how it affects the land use, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to review that for everybody, since it's been a few months. I hope you don't mind.
Upon opening the public comment portion of this hearing, those of you wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition will give your name and address each time you begin to speak. This is necessary since the public hearing is being recorded. The public comment portion of this hearing is now open. Does the applicant wish to speak?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission. Happy to be back here before you on remand from the County Commission. Didn't expect to be back here, but it was the desire of the County Commission that we come back and talk to you about facts that have arisen, not necessarily within the box of our application, but that touch the dirt, the box of the dirt, but that touch our application, that arise naturally or just happen coincidentally. Things just happen after we were heard before you that we're going to talk about. And I'll touch on those, and that's really what I'm going to focus on, is new information, new facts that have arisen since we were before you. But if you'll indulge me, I will take a minute and just revisit just what we're here asking for very, very quickly. May I have the next slide, please? And we can skip ahead to the next one. We have 435 acres located at 166th Street and Lenape Road. It's zoned I3 heavy industry. And based upon new facts that I'll get to in a minute, we are asking that you recommend approval of the special use permit to operate the sand excavation and stockpiling operation with modified conditions for the 25-year period. Next slide. I'll remind you that the comprehensive plan all along this area calls out for this property, this corridor, to be developed as industrial zoning. That'll be maintained. Next slide, please. The property all along the route is industrially zoned I3 heavy industry. You can see the uses that are allowed in this corridor, and the sand excavation is permitted subject to the approval of a special use permit. Next slide. The site plan, I won't spend a whole lot of time on this. It's the same site plan. We take down about 10 acres a year, and the pond area in the middle, that's blue, that'll be where we propose to start. Next slide, please. We are a heavily regulated business and industry in addition to Leavenworth County's review through the Department of Public Works, Planning and Zoning. KDOT has a litany of organizations and departments that review us, our activities, everything that we could touch, all the road systems, are we going to be impacting well water and so on, and as well as the federal government through the Mine Safety Health Administration, MSHA, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and FEMA as it might relate to the river. Next slide, please. To remind you, we were proposing that excavation and hauling be limited Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. We were asking that dredging be allowed to take place without restriction because, unlike a lot of people in our industry, we're not using diesel equipment. We're using all electric equipment, water pumps, dredge lines, washers, separator, consolidators that don't make a lot of noise, and those activities are necessary for us to have product available. 50 trips a day is what we're going to average. There's a lot of conversation about how much traffic. 50 trips a day is what we're going to average. That's been in our materials from day one. The traffic study, to be overly conservative, studied 120 trips a day, and even at that almost triple level, the traffic study concluded that the road system could adequately handle our volumes on Golden Road and also when we got to K32. Next slide, please. We were talking about the primary route that we would enforce on everybody purchasing materials from us would go left onto Golden Road, and when they got to K32, they'd make a right-hand turn, and ultimately those headed to our processing facility in Edwardsville would end up at Edwardsville. Next slide, please. So while the application hasn't changed, as I mentioned, new facts have arisen since we were before you, some of which we had nothing to do, and some of which we were ready to present up to the county commission. And we have been negotiating a development agreement with the county. It's still in negotiation. I can talk to you about what we have proposed, so you have this information to do with what you will. Next slide, please. There's been a grant awarded to the county to make significant improvements to Golden Road. And to talk about that, I'd like to ask Aaron Fritz to discuss it. This is something that came up after we were heard by the Planning Commission.
Aaron follows Aaron. My name is Aaron Fritz, the principal GBA Transportation. I'm just going to cover some highlights you may or may not be aware, or the public may or may not be aware. This is a federal grant that was given to the county. I'm not familiar with the exact figure. There's a lot of dollars. But what's important is it focuses on a lot of improvements on Golden Road. It addresses shoulders, clear zone considerations for flatter slopes. It looks at specific safety measures at the intersection of K32 and Golden Road. It looks at a high friction surface course along the curve on the far west end as you head north to K32. The one thing it does not do, however, is it would not allow for an overlay of the roadway. So they will address the shoulders or lack of shoulders and improve those. What they will not do is focus on that 24-foot width of paving. That is excluded in this. And so that's, I think, a key component regarding that there's a lack of something being done to the driving lanes. And I know everybody's concern is about the additional traffic. There's also a concern with the existing traffic. The existing pavement is not thick enough to handle the traffic that's there today, let alone the additional traffic. So the benefit of this grant in consideration with the special use permit is trying to leverage those two activities. You're going to hear more from Aaron about that, but there's an opportunity to leverage two different projects here to really address the safety improvements along Golden Road that were identified in the grant, but also address the paving width along that road up to K32 and including some changes to K32 intersection.
You heard a lot of testimony at the last meeting from members of the community that there are safety problems today with dips and curves and whatnot to Golden Road. This grant is specifically designed to mitigate the majority of those safety concerns. We didn't know about this before. It's new. My understanding is that the grant is in the dollar amount of approximately $8 million to handle and resolve safety issues with Golden Road that exist today. As Aaron Fritz mentioned, you may end up with a design, a road that's wider, flatter, and so on, has better turning lines, but the pavement will remain the same as it is today. We have offered up in our draft of the development agreement, not accepted. We don't know. We don't have feedback from the county commission. 2 slides, please. We've offered up that we would fund the existing pavement deficiency, and we would add pavement with a 20-year pavement design life to handle our additional traffic. We didn't have that information before. We have that information now. That's approximately 5 inches of new asphalt all along the primary road to K32. If we don't fund it, the county's grant doesn't fund it, and the county doesn't have available dollars today to fund the existing pavement deficiency that's there today. So we think that everybody would appreciate and would like Golden Road to not only have a safe design, but to have asphalt that's thick enough to handle the existing traffic, and a 20-year design of asphalt, approximately 5 inches, to handle our traffic. The estimated cost today, and this is our estimate, it's not the final estimate because there's a whole process that the road policy requires that everybody goes through, the number that the county engineer says is that number is the number we will have to pay. The county hires a third-party engineer to evaluate our information and conduct new studies, and they conclude, no, it's Mr. March, it's not 5 inches, it's 6 inches, or it's 4 inches, whatever it may be. And based upon prices of asphalt that they utilize, they may say the number is different. We have to decide at that time to either write the check, or we don't write the check, our SUP goes away. If it's a $50 million check, well, you probably can imagine what we're going to do. If it's a $2 million check, you probably can imagine. But we believe, based upon the information that GBA has from recent bid tabs with KDOT, that a reasonable number, including an inflation factor, is $3 million. That's just to get our arms around it. So the question is, if we don't come up with the $3 million or the money to do the existing, who will fund the pavement that's needed today? Next slide, please. The development agreement also contains a provision that we will aggressively work with the county to secure the expansion of rail into the corridor. There's a letter in your packet from Senator Klemp, where Senator Klemp talks about the work that he's doing. This is a March 23rd letter, I think, or 24th letter. In fact, there's a meeting scheduled within the next 2 weeks with Union Pacific Railroad, the feds, the state representatives, us, and others to talk to UPR about what it will take or when they will bring rail to the corridor. What we do know is that Kaw Valley alone isn't going to generate enough business in the corridor for rail expansion. What we know is that there are businesses that we work with today that say, if you all have an operation here, we're going to want to relocate and be right next to you or near you. And there's other property in the corridor that if it's opened up for development, the rail will want to come here. But it only is going to come if there's demand. Somebody's got to be the first mover. We want to be that first mover. We get the benefit, the luxury of paying the price to fix Golden Road's paving in order to be the first mover. We've also offered up, hasn't been accepted, hasn't been negotiated, a per ton royalty. For every ton of sand that leaves our facility every week, we will true up and write a check to the county to do whatever the county commission decides to do with it. Whether it goes into the general fund to pay for expenses in the area, whether it goes to pay for something in a different part of the county, we don't know. We don't control it. All we know is we will account every week, and we will pay a royalty for the life of the special use permit. We think that is a new fact that wasn't before you when we were here. Next slide. We believe that with this additional information, the foundations, the reasons why you voted no were specifically tied to the route. We do match the character of the neighborhood. It is specifically master planned as industrial. The route is going to be improved, not only by us, but also by the grant. So the route, we believe, is no longer a basis for saying that we don't comply with the character of the neighborhood when it's master planned industrial and is supposed to carry industrial traffic. The application does match the zoning of nearby industrial uses. Again, the route, the same thing. The route is going to be built up so that it will handle industrial traffic. The application is not detrimental to nearby property, again, because the road is going to be significantly improved, safety issues removed, and adequate asphalt put in place with a life of 20 years. We believe that the economic benefit and gain of the public health, safety, and welfare is advanced because the major road paving that's needed today that there is no money to take care of is going to be provided by us by contract. We have to write the check to the county. The county has to do the work in order for us to be able to open our doors. We've talked a little bit about the royalty payment, and I touched a little bit on economic development, first mover, and I want to spend a minute on that. Next slide, please. We're a first mover. We have the luxury of being the people that are going to change the character of the valley, the corridor, but it has consistently been master planned the master plan that you reviewed and signed off on, the master plan that the county commission reviewed and signed off on, to retain its industrial character. Well, now we're here to implement that vision. The zoning today is industrial. We know that there are companies that want to relocate in the corridor if we get approved. We hope you're going to hear from others that they've heard the same thing and they know of other businesses as well. So this is not just about our SUP. Next slide, please. I'm sorry, I'll back up a second. This isn't just about our SUP. This is about economic development in the corridor. Next slide. Next slide, please. The same conditions of approval that we asked you to change last time, we're going to ask you to change this time. The staff recommended an SUP for 3 years. We requested 25 years. Well, first of all, we're not going to open for 2 years. We've got a number of approvals and reviews that we have to go through, so hopefully in 2 years we'll open. But we're going to have at least a $6 million direct on-site construction cost for our facility and at least $3 million to fund the paving of Golden Road. So that's not, at least $9 million of capital investment with a 3-year operation under special use permit. That's going to be a challenge. We ask that you give us 25 years in order to be able to recoup that investment in this site. Next slide, please. We'll develop the property in compliance with the site plan submitted on September 30th, 2025. We agree with that, but we ask that you remove the condition that we put in an 8-foot perimeter fence all along our entire boundary. Well, number one, there's no fence there today. The property is agricultural and it's actively planted and harvested. The perimeter fence, there will be a fence around our active operations. Both the front gate, our weigh stations, our separator, the pond, we will absolutely have fencing around those. And as that area grows, as the pond grows, so will our fence. We believe that that is adequate and sufficient to secure the safety, not only of us, but people in the neighborhood that may want to walk across our property to get to the river, to go fishing, whatever they may do. There will be a fence to keep them out of any area that might be different than it is today. But the thought of having a fence around our border, an 8-foot fence around our entire acreage, just doesn't seem to achieve a goal that we could understand. Next slide, please. We ask that you delete condition number 16, that dredging be limited to the hours of 6:30 a.m. until 6:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Dredging and stockpiling is the lifeblood of our business. It takes 2 hours to start that up. It takes 2 hours to take it down. So if we had a stop at 6:30, well, that means we're stopping at 4:30 in order to shut down by 6:30, and to be able to be up and running again the next morning at 6:30. We got to start that activity up at 4:30 in the morning. It's just not practical. But why are we being asked to limit our dredging and stockpiling? It's because of sound. It's because of noise. As I mentioned, all of our equipment, unlike a lot of our competitors, is electric. While it's not quiet, it doesn't generate a lot of noise, certainly no more noise than a tractor does it's plowing or when crops are being harvested. Where there is noise, to the extent there is, that's with the excavation and the hauling, and we agree that that'll be limited 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, not on weekends, not late in the afternoon, and not in the evenings. The dredging is different. We're not excavating gravel. You don't have the jackhammering. You don't have that heavy equipment going on making noise. Next slide. So there's been talk about additional conditions or what's new. There's been talk in the community about changing the route when we get to K32, Golden K32, to go left versus going right. We were prepared at the county commission hearing to say if you make that a condition of our approval, we will agree to it. Same thing here tonight. Next slide, please. If you add a condition to modify the primary route so that we go south or left at K32 versus right, we will agree to that condition. In your packet is a supplemental traffic study prepared by GBA that talks about what happens, what if we do go left versus going right. And they concluded that there's no major operational impacts are anticipated from this potential change. K7 can handle K32 can handle the traffic. It is well under traffic today from a capacity perspective. Next slide. So how would people get, what are we talking about? We're talking about coming out of our site, going left on a safer Golden Road because of the grant, on a road that's got the asphalt that can handle our traffic, and they'll go left at K32. Next slide, please. Traffic will head on down to 222nd Street, go north and get on to 70, and then access our facility through the highway system. We will make that, if you make that a condition of approval, we will require that that be the route of anybody going to the east. Now, they may want to go west on 70 or elsewhere in the county, but anybody coming to our facility will have to use this route, and no one will be able to make a right turn if they're doing business with us on K32. All of our customers will, as a condition of doing business with us, and they're all repeat customers, will go left at K32. We're happy to have you make that a condition. Next slide, please. There was a question about retail sales and sales tax. Okay. Next slide, please. It's not part of our business model, and it won't be a big sales tax generator, but we will add it to our business model. And again, retail sales was evaluated. What's that going to do to the traffic? Again, we would still require anybody coming with, whether it's a truck pulling a trailer. We're not talking likely talking about somebody coming with a pickup truck, but retail sales, not to big commercial vendors. If they want to come to the site, we're happy to have them. We'll figure out how to do this. We'll do it smartly, and sales tax will be collected on that. One of the reasons that we offered up the royalty was because we don't have history in sales, and retail sales and sales tax. We wanted to provide a guaranteed revenue stream to the county. These retail sales tax would be in addition to that royalty. There's no offset, there's no credit. Again, you want to make that a condition, happy to have it be a condition. And GBA looked at, well, what if we do add retail sales? They talked about the need for some additional widenings and turnings when it got to K32, because some of those local people in Leavenworth County may want to go right. They bought sand, they want to take it home. They may want to go right. If they do, will that have an impact? And again, their conclusion is no major operational impacts are anticipated by adding retail sales to the development. It's going to be such a relatively small portion of our business, but we heard you, and we were going to offer it up if the commission wanted to make that mandate that change on us, and we offer up the same thing to you. Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned before, this is more than the Kaw Valley SUP. It's bigger than the Kaw Valley SUP. The approval of the Kaw Valley SUP is about countywide economic development. Again, we know of businesses that want to relocate next to us or near us on industrially zoned property, or property that's master planned for industrial use. They're just waiting to see what happens here. If they don't come here, they're going to go someplace else, and it's likely not in Leavenworth County because we're not going to be here. We think it'd be nice if Leavenworth County had a place to buy sand for Leavenworth County's needs, like sanding the roads, from a Leavenworth County purveyor. Right now, the county has to go to another county to buy its own sand. We'd like to be able to sell Leavenworth County sand to Leavenworth County and its citizens, and be a part of the community to spur economic development, fix the roads, and pay the royalty. Next slide. So again, our request is that you approve the special use permit modifying conditions 1, 3, and 16, and we are willing to accept new conditions should it be your pleasure to add them, that the route go left at K32, not right, and that we add retail sales to our operations. Next slide. Thank you very much. We're happy, as are our team. By the way, I forgot to introduce the members of our team that are here. Adam and Ben Cates, they are with the ownership group of Kaw Valley. Zach Copeland is Senior Vice President of Kaw Valley. Mr. Chuck Stites is Director of Business Development with Kaw Valley. Dan Hayes, General Manager, Director of Sales. You've met Aaron Fritz and Adam Carlson, young lawyer in my office. Any of us are happy to answer any of your questions that you might have. Thank you.
Are we good to ask questions?
Yeah.
Like everything you said, but what happens after 20 years when we're done with the property?
Well, we're hoping it's 25 years.
Well, we go 25 years, then what are we going to do with the property?
So we have this reclamation plan that it's actually attached to this thank you slide where we're proposing a recreational pond fishing. We're in conversations. We've had conversations with folks at the state. The state is looking into taking this on as what would be a public park. Don't know. They don't want to pursue it until they know we've been approved. A reclamation plan like this has to be part of what is approved at the state level. So we have to bond the reclamation plan. We have to prove up that we will do it and can do it. We're not going to ask the county to take ownership unless the county wants to. That's a cost and expense, but the state is looking at taking it on. The nice thing is, if you will, we've got 20 years to figure it out, but at the end of the day, this is something that the Cates family is willing to take on and be theirs and for their use and for their family's use.
Josh, what would be the zoning for something of this nature? It's not industrial, right?
I'm sorry?
What would be the zoning of this?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Are you asking me? Yeah, it would be, you're talking about the entire site.
Right.
It would be zoned industrial.
As a reclamation?
The entire site would be, the reclamation plan is a component of, as he said, his state application. So once they're done mining, they have to come up with a use for that particular area. And what they've proposed is a lake, whether it's public or it's private. At the end of the day, he's saying that they're willing to take that on as a private lake. I can't speak to the state's interest in it, but yes, the entire site would be industrial, and this whole site is industrial currently. Is that correct? I believe it's been that way for a number of years.
I do have a question for you as well. You said it would be nice for the county to buy sand harvested from the county, but they'd actually be buying it from a different county.
Well, if this is
because it's processed in Wyandotte County, so they would be buying their sand from Wyandotte.
It need not need, depending upon how it's being used. You're right. It might not come from here, but there would be a scenario where the county would buy sand directly from here. That it would not come from our processing plant. It would come from here for its use.
But that's only if one of the conditions is on-site sales are approved.
That's right.
Well, and something I don't know how much research the rest of the board's done, but this site's very special. This just ain't run-of-the-mill playground sand we're looking at here. I bet the top 40, 50 foot is going to be run-of-the-mill sand that we can disperse into concrete and whatever. But our main goal in here is the silica sand. And I don't know how many people are aware of that, but that's what we're looking for. The high-grade silica sand for computer chips, guidance systems. I mean, this ain't $33 a ton sand we're looking for here. And I've got a pretty good idea. You guys know it's there, or we wouldn't be going through all this. So are our tonnage fees going to reflect? We're going to set a number at sand that the top 50 foot is common core sand that we can buy for $33 a ton. But when we get to this high grade silica sand, we're not selling that for $33 a ton. Are we?
We have made a proposal in a draft development agreement. We have yet to hear a response counter to that.
But they are aware of this. This ain't run-of-the-mill sand we're taking out of here.
I just hope we're not negotiating with you in the development agreement.
I appreciate that, but
Commissioner, I appreciate your questions. I just want to remind you
know
of what I discussed.
Got it.
This is land use. It's not the price of the tonnage of the sand. It's the impact on the road.
Well, let me ask you something. How are we supposed to take in all this stuff that hasn't been approved yet, that's still in processes outside of his application? Are we supposed to consider it as fait accompli or a wish list?
Well, I think it depends on each of the things that were identified on it. Discussing the development agreement and the royalty agreement, I'd ask you to disregard that. That's not part of a land use component. That's just information that was shared by the applicant. The public hearing was here today. You're going to hear from more folks about things. So regarding which route that you think, if there's a public health, welfare, and safety component on which route this commission thinks is best, whether to go left or right on K32, that is something that could be an appropriate recommendation to the commission. Regarding some of the other matters that goes to economic perks, that stays with the commission. So it's more case by case and looking at it holistically on if you think the application meets the golden factors, and if this body has an opinion on some of the options that were mentioned today, such as the haul route, retail sales, you can make them, or you can choose not to address them if you don't feel like you have enough information, and send that recommendation back to the commission.
So golden factor number 4 that says will not adversely affect, we should only look at adversely affect of convenience, prosperity, and general welfare.
And is that for the public health, welfare, and safety?
Yeah.
I think you would look. You'd look at all of those things, but you wouldn't be looking at the economic portion of it.
And I'd like to make a comment. We're not elected officials up here, but we are nominated by a Board of County Commissioner. I've made a point earlier to you about transparency in government. We are part of the Leavenworth County government. Therefore, I think transparency is a 100% thing that our constituents, our family in the county, they need to know everything. And I get it. We can't ask this and we can't ask that. They did come forth with tons of information, which I greatly appreciate because that's what I asked for last time. But I think transparency is totally important to get all the facts of what we're really saying these guys are going to do or what we're going to approve. And then the rest of it is out of our hands because the agreements they make to go forth are strictly between them and the county. We're just going to take this at, hey, here's what they're saying, this is what they're going to do. So, like I said, transparency, it's huge to me. I mean, I ask the questions. I don't mean to pry. I'm not trying to negotiate a deal with you guys. I'm not an elected official yet. But someday, we all may sit up here and have to make a choice. And these taxpayers out here deserve to know all the information. And I'll leave it at that. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
I've got another one. Talking about the fencing. Looking at this picture, where are you proposing to limit the fencing of your operations? This looks like the whole area.
This is 25 years down the road. If we go back to the site plan.
This is the reclamation plan.
Yeah, that was the reclamation drawing that I asked for. Right.
So in
But
this,
it's going to be water. It's where it's going to eventually be working.
in this site plan, for example, this shows where we're going to start. There will be a padlock chain link fence in front of, from when you come into the site to the way station to where we have the stockpiling, where we have all of our equipment there in the very middle. To the left, you see blue. That's our first 10 acres, and that will grow over time. There will be fencing around that 10 acres initially. We're asking the other green area that's going to be farmed around it not be fenced. As we grow, as that pond grows, so will the fencing around it. We're just saying day one to put up an 8-foot fence all along the perimeter really doesn't serve a purpose and would impede our ability to farm and do what's being done today without fencing. But as that blue grows, the fence will grow as well.
So just to be clear, if I could hop in here, you said you were going to have movable fence. When I hear movable fence, I think construction fence. What type of material will that fence be made out of?
We have been talking about construction fencing, but we're open to talking to staff about something that will be able to move with us as we grow, as opposed to around the entire perimeter day one.
I think the intent was to encapsulate the portions that were being excavated at the time, so that may be a bit of a...
I think we can absolutely refine that condition, and it wouldn't be a problem.
And I
it
think
be a practical barrier.
The two of y'all are talking about needs to be in what you're saying you're going to agree with. That's not what was submitted.
But before you today, based upon the comments you made, we will agree to the modified condition as staff just suggested.
So you guys would be good with a 5-6-foot chain link fence around all of the dredging area, and we can extend that as the dredging area extends?
The answer is yes.
Okay. I mean, that chain link's pretty easy to add on to. I mean, that's
yes.
we're not asking for 10 foot of.
Misty, real quick, I know we're not supposed to talk things other than land use, but at the last meeting, one of the issues was economic development, and you know, is it economically advantageous to the community under Golden Factor 6? At the last one, and I want to make certain I understand. At the last one, you had not proposed a per-ton royalty, nor was there any plan for on-site sales, which allowed point-of-sale taxing. Correct?
That's correct.
So this time, what is different is that in your development plan, you're talking about a per-ton royalty to the county.
It's not in the development plan, but we're happy as a condition. It's in the draft of the development agreement. I hate to go back to it, and you have our statement here before the public body that there is a royalty that we are proposing. We don't know the amount of it, and there is before you as well, the statement that we will provide the pavement depth that is told to us we have to provide the money for it for Golden Road. I don't have a vehicle for you to implement that other than tell you that we have offered it up. Yeah. It's in the draft.
But at the last meeting, you had not made the offer of the royalty per ton.
Correct.
So Factor 6 is one of the ones that we've focused on. That's their approach is changing, at least from the development agreement that they're proposing to the county. Correct?
So
That's correct.
So it's fair game.
Because he brought it up,
not
so we can ask
not
for
the
it.
hypothetical details of it.
No,
just
not
the fact that they
details,
might
but
consider
the fact that there is a potential agreement on the board that if the BOCC agrees to, that then now we have to take in Factor 6, which is it economically beneficial to the community, to the county?
I would agree. I just think that's clearly been stated. So all the detail-oriented questions.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask them how much per ton or anything like that, because I mean that's not.
But
our
we're
business.
looking at
Does the public benefit outweigh?
Real quick.
Now we start looking at and we can look at that economically.
Right.
But that goes to my question to Missy. I mean, do we consider something that's if that, and I'll get you details later type stuff.
Well,
not part of it.
John's going to tell us that if the development agreement isn't signed, the SUP isn't approved.
That's
correct?
exactly what John's going to tell you. That's condition number 2.
Look at here.
But Misty, since he brought it up and they offered it, we can ask for it to be put in this, a tonnage fee. Am I wrong?
We are not going to put a tonnage fee in
We're not the
as a
BOCC.
special condition. That is.
Even though he offered it, we can't ask for it.
No, Commissioner
Not in the
Owens, and if we need to
application.
go into an executive session and discuss this again, we can do that. It has been brought up, and as I think Commissioner Bailey has said it far better than I have, conceptually, yes, you can consider the economic gain to the county with the proposal, but we cannot get into the semantics or the details of it, because that would be improper in regards to what the land use is. It's sufficient to say the applicant is letting you know that there is a development agreement in play, the commission would consider it, and you can know that there are benefits being proposed to the county economically.
So,
We only have the right to
Because-
know that it's a possibility. That's
correct. And you know, one of the issues for me last time was that I saw no economic benefit to the county. You know, we were asking a lot of the neighbors without any economic benefit to the county that I could see, and that's why I'm spending time on it this time, because it may weigh on my decision once we get to a recommendation.
But the word possibility is my simple thought.
No, but if the BOCC says, yeah, no, we don't want it, we don't want any payment, that's their call, not ours. And if the BOCC says we're not happy with the development agreement, then there's no SUP.
which is why the detailed questions don't matter right now.
Correct.
Hey, Josh, question. Regarding the timing, is there any requirement in the code about noise? And
So, in our conditions of approval, we normally have a requirement that limits, decibel levels per the
Special condition 12.
Yeah, special condition number 12 is noise shall be limited to 65 decibels along property lines adjacent to residentially zoned parcels. So you're looking primarily along that north central area where there is residential currently adjacent.
And to your point, sir, in regards to the electric equipment, that noise is limited, correct? Is that-
We agree with the condition. We will not exceed the decibels. We will likely be less than it.
Thank you.
I have a question about your concern about condition number 1, and you're asking for a 25-year SUP, but we're only looking at a 20-year road fix. What about the change? What about the continuation of those 5 years when the roads may be degraded by continuous traffic?
My hope is, and I think you'll hear from others, that because if we get approved, should we be approved, that there'll be enough economic development and tax generated that normal repair of roads, including this road, would be well within the budget of the county. If you're suggesting to me, would we be willing to accept a 20-year approval with a 20-year life? I have a nod. Yes, I understand where you're coming from. We would hope that there will be others that will be coming in and participating and contributing in road improvements over time within the corridor. But something to consider 20 years down the road. If you limited us to 20, we would accept that.
Okay, my next question goes to the average traffic per day that you have posted. There have been a number of comments from the community that were included in the packet, and then a couple of additional ones today. The question whether the number is really what it is. You've said that you believe the average is 50 trips, which is an in and out, per day. Average.
Average.
Okay. But as I remember reading in your proposal, that did not count non-company vehicles.
No, that's all traffic coming to the site to purchase sand that will cross the way and pay a royalty. That is the total volume, not including the 3 or 4 or 5 employee cars coming and going.
Yeah, and I understand.
But the commercial vehicles.
I understand the cars and the equipment maintenance and so forth.
It's 50 vehicles a day on average will be coming in and obtaining sand and leaving the site.
How many? Humor me. 10 acres, 50 feet deep is that's 500 acre feet of material, roughly, that you're going to extract a year. How many vehicles does it take to move an acre foot of material?
So that's 18.
Let me say it to you differently.
Okay.
About 50,000 tons of sand will come out per acre.
Okay.
And the
50 tons, right?
50,000 tons per acre of sand will come from the site. And the average of 50 trucks a day will take up that entire, not 100%, but will exhaust the majority of that supply.
Okay. I appreciate that. I guess one of the questions I have is on the new route. Why did you propose the new route? If 32, as per your original proposal, Highway 32 from 189 over to Edwardsville is not trafficked as much, and the road is considered sufficient for that level of traffic addition. Why did you now propose going west and out to Highway 1 and then up to 70?
We're willing to accept the modification of our route as a condition because a little more time on our side to mitigate or reduce concerns of the community was something we were willing to consider. Internally, there's a debate within the company, even though going right is shorter, maybe getting onto the highway may be faster. We don't know who's going to win that internal debate, but the trump card here is we hope to be here operating for 20 or more years. It was the right thing to do.
Okay.
Well, no, I agree. Let's put more trucks on the state road, less on the county road. Let the state pay for some of that pavement.
Well, they've got to go on 32 anyway,
Yeah.
whether they go west or whether they go east. Personally, I'm thinking the longer road costs more in diesel fuel and fossil fuels that are going up in price and contributing potentially to climate change. So I'd prefer a shorter route as long as the route is capable of handling it. Can we put a condition on there that says that an independent engineer has to evaluate 32?
We don't typically evaluate the state highways. That's under the purview of KDOT itself. Our reviews.
Can we request?
We have requested some of that from KDOT in the past with limited success. So, again, the assumption is that when improvements are done to 32, this type of traffic is also a consideration because of the type of thoroughfare that it is.
But I didn't hear any improvements to 32. I only heard them to Golden Road.
None of it, right, none of it proposed as part of this. It's strictly county roads. The improvements to county.
Right, 32 is the state road.
If you'd like a more detailed answer on K-32's capacity, either right or left, Mr. Fritz can talk to it. But the short answer is there's plenty of capacity to handle our trucks. I mean, thousands of additional trips are available on K-32, either going right or going left.
The reason I asked that is because during the last time you had talked about some of the drainage culverts and so forth along 32 as a potential issue, if I remember correctly.
That was along Golden Road.
It was on Golden Road, but it was also, once you turn right and go on 32, there was a discussion of culverts and drainage. And I'm wrong. Okay.
No.
My last question concerns the, I guess it's Lenape Drainage District. Have you done any discussions with Lenape as to, obviously when we talked the last time, we talked about the berm along the Kansas River. But as we look at the drainage district, it talks about canals that they're responsible for that appear to run up near Golden Road and across your property. Have you had any discussions with the drainage district?
We have had conversations with the drainage district as recently as today. We talked to the district engineer, and the district engineer says, we go out once a year, we mow the grass, and we walk the site, and that's about all we do. It's historical, but we're regulatory, and FEMA and the court don't recognize that we actually have authority. I'm speaking on behalf of the drainage district. They said, right now, today, we're neutral on your application. We understand that there are plans that need to be developed, submitted to the county as part of any permitting. All of the information requested in their letter, we must and will provide to them, and they will do their due diligence. And we hope that if the County Public Works Department, if the Corps, if FEMA, if the state, in their review, say it's fine, that so will the drainage district. But if the drainage district has concerns or wants us to do A or B, we simply have to do that in order for them to sign off. They don't know where they're going to fall because there's not an application before them. But we are on board with having to present to them.
So planning staff, should we make that a condition? Would it be a condition that all that they must get sign off from the drainage district as a condition for the SUP to be approved?
As it relates to their particular improvements in there, as he said, they're historical. He definitely has jurisdiction, but he's right. He will have to accommodate whatever it is they're going to require. So I think we have that already met in our conditions, not specific to this particular drainage district, but compliance with state, federal, and local requirements.
Okay. All right. I'm satisfied with that answer. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just for clarification in my mind, timeline. You're looking at basically condition number one being expanded 25 years.
Or 20 years.
Or 20 years. And can you help me to understand before you start, literally they'll start bringing trucks in, how many months, years would it be before you actually reach that point?
Assuming everything goes in a normal course, it's about 2 years before we're hauling sand out of the site.
Okay.
And before any of that happens, of course, obviously all the permits need to be obtained, the funding, whatever it may be, the development agreement will need to have been approved and signed. All of that is going to take place in order for us to open and haul sand out.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We will hear from those individuals present wishing to speak in favor of the request.
One at a time.
Are we limiting people to 5 minutes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you need my name and address?
Yes, sir.
My name is Eric Soriano. I'm with Harmony's Landscaping. I live at 22013 West 48th Street, Shawnee, Kansas. I'm here to talk in favor of the Lenape Sand Plant. So I've been at Hermes Landscaping for 25 years. I've done many projects in Leavenworth County, 3 up at Fort Leavenworth, several off-site, and we've used Kaw Valley for our supply of sand and gravel for 20 years. They've been an exemplary corporate citizen, great vendor. I love what they do. I love the people that work there that help us. They bend over backwards. They're great people. I think the product that they're selling here is it's a natural product coming out of the ground. I think there's a great opportunity for everybody involved, taxpayers, tax receivers. I think corporate America, I shouldn't say corporate America, business world would benefit by this project, and I'm totally in favor of it. Anything else?
So you'd buy your retail product right there in Leavenworth
Not
County?
retail. Well, wait a minute. Is this a trick question? Or is
No,
this
sir. No trick about it. Are you willing to buy retail from Kaw Valley right in Leavenworth County?
Yes, sir.
Good enough for me.
I hear you. Anybody else? I think this is a great project. I love the park at the end. I love what this is going to do to improve. I'm here to make it more beautiful. You see all those trees screening it and making it, it's going to be more beautiful than it is now when they're done. And that's a good thing. That's a benefit to the county, to the people. I think it's a great project. I haven't seen too many like this one. This is not a data center. This is not I don't know what else, right? This is a natural product coming out of the ground of Leavenworth County. So I don't see a downside to this personally. Anybody else? I can answer any questions or anything. Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity to talk, and good luck on your decisions, guys.
We will now hear from those in favor wishing to speak in opposition.
No, hang on.
One more.
Were we done with Ford? No. Okay.
Ford?
Yeah, that's what I want to hear from right there.
Yeah.
Ford.
Go ahead. Nobody moved earlier.
Hi, Frank Lichtenauer with Spec Chem. I live at 14504 Ballantyne, Overland Park, Kansas. Our company utilizes, one of our integral products is sand in our product. We're a concrete construction chemical company. Over the last almost 40 years and tens of millions of pounds, Kaw Valley's never let us down. We back them in everything they do, and we hope they grow, because as we grow, we're going to need them to grow with us. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
I want to hear from her.
Hello, Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for having me. My name is Lisa Hack. I'm the Executive Director for Leavenworth County Development Corporation. We're a public-private organization that does economic development in Leavenworth County. And I know you all are here to consider the impact on the road, but it is my job to advocate for economic development in our county. And I want to say that LCDC does support business projects and that create quality jobs and broaden the county's tax base. Approximately 90% of the property tax burden in Leavenworth County comes from the residents, and only about 10% come from the commercial and industrial properties. In a healthy community, it should be about 70% coming from the residents and about 30% coming from commercial and industrial properties. The proposed Kaw Valley project represents an opportunity to help improve that balance by adding long-term commercial and investment and tax revenue to our county. As I understand, the property in question has been zoned industrial, and since the 1960s, and Kaw Valley is proposing an industrial use consistent with that zoning in my belief. Additionally, because portions of the site are impacted by flood areas, it's unlikely that another development could locate there. So this project appears uniquely suited for this property. I would also encourage you to, as we've been talking about, consider the long-term effects of this project on this community. Because the project operates for decades, it has the potential of attracting lots of other companies that want to be located near this resource, the sand. And so that is going to create additional jobs, additional investment in our community, and it's also going to help spread that tax base and help reduce that tax burden that's currently on our Leavenworth County residents. Thank you for your consideration.
I'm new to this, so hang in there with me. My name's Ernie Rickey. I live at 23030 243rd Street, McLeod, Kansas, here in the county. I am in support of the sand pit or harvesting of sand. We need sand every day in our life. It's a natural resource we have. It's a commodity down there. It's in the floodplain. I don't know where else you can get a better quality of sand besides the Kansas River. We use sand and concrete. We use sand in your salt mixture on your roads to get back and forth home, hospitals, grocery store, asphalt, mortar, rock on your houses, any roadway, any runway. And I'm sure that we all live in a facility here that have insulation in our houses. Do you know insulation is about 85-90% sand? And we have two of the largest insulation makers in Kansas and Fairfax. Also, railroad locomotives use 4 to 8 tons of sand daily for any locomotive going up and down the track for traction, to get up and down the track for taking off. We use it at our sports fields, our track fields, our baseball fields, our sports complexes. We have nearly 6 concrete plants around Leavenworth County that don't buy sand from Leavenworth County. It'd be awful nice to sell a product from our county to one of our own county businesses. I would think. I think you get double taxed on that. Asphalt plants. There's 10 asphalt plants we could supply sand to. The county needs sales tax. It was talked about this morning in the meeting. We're lacking of sales tax. And then they're going to create a grant to pave a road for 20,000 feet. I just Googled it, point A to point B. 20,000 feet, and they want to give you $8 million, and they're going to add additional 3 maybe. What do you think the people in the northern part of the county are going to say when you turn down $11 million for roadways? To me, it don't make sense. I just don't understand it. So your county road you have now, you say, is not up to standards. Well, school buses are on that road carrying kids to school during school time. You got trash trucks, you got dump trucks, you got grain trucks, you got farm trucks. I'm sure they're overloaded. They don't weigh when they come out of the fields. You can't be negligent on knowing that your road is not up to standards, and there's somebody here to pave a road for you and give it to you, so you're not negligent. Negligence is not a good term to use in a court hearing. It's not. I think it's called found guilty. I don't know. Safety. I'm around construction jobs and trucks all day long. I move heavy equipment. That's our family business. I'm the 4th generation in it. Call Valley, we move equipment for Call Valley. They have one of the nicest truck fleets Kansas, Missouri can have. Newest, nicest, up-to-date truck fleets with a good safety record on their hands. I don't know what else you would ask for to have a company come in here and being that respectful and that responsible to come in here and help you gain tax dollars and support the community. And yes, they have supported the community a lot. Every fairground building, active fairgrounds, has a product of Call Valley inside of it that got donated to them. The arena, all the barns, they donated all that product. And the reason I know that is because I put it in there voluntarily last year, and so did Zach. So I don't know what we can't ask from a smaller family business to help a community out and help us out at the same time. I support it 100%, and I want to go back to who zoned that ground in 1962. It was my aunt and uncle, Walt and Alice Rickey. They was a truck driver down there, and they knew that ground was full of sand, and I knew that was the only thing it was used for. Some reason there's a golf course across the street. Anybody know, was that the golf course before it was a golf course?
Sand.
A sand plant. Some reason next to a river. Thank you.
My name's Ian Lights, 102 Timber Creek Circle, Lansing, Kansas 66043. The two people prior to me took most of my points, so I will spin it a different way. I grew up on County Road 33. Ham Quarries is just around the corner. You're asking them for 25 years of maintenance on a road that has never been reciprocated by any other quarry in this county. I guarantee there's more than 50 trucks on that road every day, and it is horrible. But it's okay because they're going to put these people through the ringer. So I don't understand why everybody doesn't play by the same rules, excuse me. There's also another quarry in Tonganoxie that I guess doesn't have any fencing, doesn't have any of that, and I guess that's just acceptable. So either we need to all play by the same rules, or we just got to all do it. I don't understand how it's different. Call Valley, Ernie made a lot of valid points. Call Valley donates to every organization I've been a part of or seen. And sand, I come from the death care industry. Sand is a very integral part in that. From backfilling every grave in Leavenworth County is backfilled with sand. It's in everything we touch, everything we do. I haven't heard a valid concern of why we're against it. I mean, 20 years ago, they used to let hog manure drain into this area. So I guess that was acceptable then. But now it's this beautiful metropolis that these people speak of. And they probably all are in special use permitted housing. You know, they want to advocate for the farms. Well, then every house should have to be on 40 acres minimum. I don't understand why we... One or two, I'm sure. Oh. In 25 years, most of you people won't be here.
Whoa.
I'm William Benton. I live at 105 East Washington Street in Tonganoxie. I'm for the sand pit. You know, Ernie pretty much said everything you can say. You know, they're a pretty good company, I think. I see their trucks all the time. They always look good. They always are doing the speed limit. You know, I worked for the Public Works Division for 2 years. We don't even buy our sand in Leavenworth County. They go across the river to Johnson County to buy it. So I think if they approved it, brought it back to Leavenworth County, it'd be better for everyone.
I'm Jacob Morey. I live at 21520 259th Street, McLeod, Kansas, in the county though. I think it's a good idea. Like Austin said, I worked also for Public Works, and they buy everything from Holiday. They go right across there and get it, so why not just get it here? Thank you.
Anyone else in favor? Okay. We will now hear from those individuals wishing to speak in opposition to the request.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion for a short 5-minute recess, just to allow continuity of the opposition.
Okay. 5 minutes.
I second that. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're back. We will now hear from those individuals wishing to speak in opposition to the request. And before you start, I'll ask one favor. If you're going to repeat something that's already been said and you're still against it, just say your name and that you agree with what's been said. That'll kind of help speed up the process. It looks like we have a lot of people that want to speak. Cool.
My name is Cindy Reeves. My address is 18738 Golden Road, Linwood, Kansas, 66052. My mom and dad also own a property on not part of Circoxie, but next to it, and so I will inherit that as well. So I own 12 acres. I've been here 49 years-ish, and my parents bought their property 60 years ago, 60, 65 years ago. My daughter intends to inherit and raise her family in the future with my parents' house, and my son will more than likely live with us and inherit our property, the 12 acres that we own. So we also sold the family farm in Coffeyville, or in Coffee County, Kansas, to stay up here. We don't intend to move. Here's how this affects us. The golden factor. That road, my house is 130-ish years old. It has been farmland that entire time. I don't like to get when we bought that property 16 years ago, it's, we have a road, we have a railroad, which we're fine with, and we have a river. It's always been farmland. That's what we thought it was going to be. And I would imagine most of the people who bought that property also expected that. My dad drove cement trucks, and he had a problem with his lungs with silica sand later on. That's fine. Last year they banned the silica that went in the clay that my kids use. We all know why. That's fine. The problem is those trucks that are going to be driving by, I've listened to diesel trucks, they are loud. 50 a day, that's 100 coming in and out, shaking the glass windows of my house, the stained glass windows of my house, and my stone wall. 120 a day, that's what, 240? That's like every 10 minutes. I have to listen to that going up and down my road. I like to be outside. In 25 years, I'm almost going to be 80 years old, and I have to listen to that. But only on good days, during the week, every day of my life. I'm going to die today. They can take me out the box. I don't intend to move. Every day, a truck, every 10 minutes going by my house, and it's diesel, it's not electric. People ride their bikes on that road. It's closed right now because of the grant that they have that is fixing our bridge and cornering that corner back a little bit is amazing. You can see the bridge closed and the signs. People are still riding their bicycles back and forth down that road daily. Truck traffic, maybe 10 a day. It's not 50. It's not 40. I count. I know. Trains every 15 to 30 minutes, yes. Been doing it for 100 and some years. Trucks, no. Do you get farm trucks? Sure. During seasons when they're doing tractors, yeah. Occasionally. Not every day. Most of the people there, I would say all of them, for the last however many years, at least 100, we knew what we were getting. 240, 120, 100 trucks a day up and down our road running diesel. No, that is not what we paid for. That is not what we want. That is not where we're at. Those bicyclists going back and forth in front of our house, the motorcyclists, that road, yeah, if you want to fix it with what the state is doing, that's great, because that is what that road was for. We don't have problems with trucks. You want to know where we have accidents? It's motorcycles usually. Getting too far, going too fast around that corner. The corner's fun on a motorcycle. It's not the grain trucks. It's not the tractors going super slow. What you're proposing may be great money-wise, but for everybody who is at the point spending like millions of dollars to get their homes on that, 2 acres in a 4,000 square foot house on 32 highway, they want like $1.2 million for it. We're investing the money in our property. We're paying the high property taxes. I don't think our property taxes are going to go down. I'm fine paying my property tax. Do I like it? No. But it's what I planned on. Taking that sand in and out is not going to benefit anybody on that road. And I know we're not supposed to talk about roads, but there's one thing that I didn't say the last time I was up here that I will say now. If you turn and go the other way on 32 highway, since I now will be teaching those kids again, they just put in the new Dollar General across the street on 32. So many little kids on bikes and walking go across to get step groceries and walk back. So many. Like, a lot. And they don't have parents walking with them a lot of times because you know what? It's a small town, a farming community. And you guys said it. It's farm ground. It's agricultural. That's what you even said multiple times. Agricultural property. And if it's in a floodplain, what other businesses are going to want to be there? Thank you.
My name is Joel Sipp. I live off of 12421 158th Street, Linwood, Kansas 66052. I live right across the street. I can see the home on this piece of property from my house. Basically just to the north of the proposed trees and stuff. Close enough that my goats got into the soybean fields that apparently aren't planted and ate a bunch of the food, or at least a bunch of the soybeans that I had to end up paying the farmer for. So I live right across there. We've been fighting this for 6 years. I appreciate everybody that came from out of town to express their support. One of them mentioned that 8 to 10 companies will be able to buy their sand from Leavenworth. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it sounds like that you still won't be buying sand from Leavenworth since they're selling it all out of Wyandotte, so it doesn't really change anything. Carl Valley mentioned about the reclamation. It's kind of weird that on one hand they talk about reclamation in this great pond that they're going to put there in this public park, but then also that their company is going to bring in a bunch of other companies around the area. Do those companies also only plan to stay for 25 years? Because otherwise I don't really know what a park is going to do to make that look nicer if it's full of industrial companies and construction. We get all of our water from the aquifer that's underneath there. My well is about 35 feet down. It's not deep at all. And I was actually shocked when I first bought the property and we had to replace the well because I was used to my father-in-law's well. It's 165 feet down. So when we start pulling it up and then all of a sudden we get to the end, whoa, okay. My point being is that the water table there is extremely shallow, or is extremely high, close to the surface. We have no option for city water, county water, unless you guys are planning on running county water through there. We don't have an option. So if something happens to that aquifer, if something gets into that aquifer that makes it undrinkable or unpotable, we have no other option. There isn't something that we can do except for to move. So please, again, everything has been said for the last 6 years. Say it again and just reinforce it that this is not great for us. This is not good for us. It doesn't do anything for the county. We've talked about the royalties and everything, but it's all just nebulous. They tell you that, well, that could happen, that might happen, we could do that. But until it's in writing, everybody knows that there's no way to enforce it. And then even if they do get it in writing, are 2 or 3 of the 5 employees that they're going to have there, are those going to be flag crews to make sure that those trucks are going the right route? Are those going to be guys counting the trucks and making sure that they're not going over the limit that they're supposed to be doing? On one more point, they're talking about the noise complaints. I understand that 65 decibels isn't that much, say a vacuum, but I would like everybody to go home and just run a vacuum for the next 24 hours and see how fun that is. They're talking about a 24-hour process. It doesn't matter how loud it is. I can hear when the train gets stopped on the railroad, I can hear the dinging of the gate all night long from inside my house. I feel the house shake with the train going by. I've heard music. When I first bought the property, I thought there was somebody having a pond on my or a party on my property because I heard music so loud that ended up coming from up the hill and through that valley there. It's a wind tunnel, so that sound gets amplified through there. And then if it's going to be 65 decibels all day long, all night long, it's going to be a lot more than what they're trying to perceive it or make it sound like. So thank you.
Copy of my presentation here.
Should be one for everyone. If there's not, let me know. My name is Mike McDonald, 14439 Wood End Road, Bonner Springs, and that's the park that's inside Leavenworth County. Everyone else has talked about the first page of what I've written here except for the bottom, so I'll skip through stuff that's already been talked about that I agree with the problems that have been identified. I'm going to talk about red herrings. Future industrial development in this industrial property is really a red herring. The special use permit for the sand mine is in a federally regulated, what they call floodway, and the key requirement there is that nothing can be built that will cause the floodwaters to rise. The fact that this is a SUP for a project that actually removes material from the floodway is really the only reason they got their state and federal permits to allow them to build anything there. Anything that blocks water in the floodplain south of Golden Road is going to have difficult time and probably impossible time getting the necessary permits from the Corps of Engineers. Another problem is flood insurance. If for some reason you decide to build in an area that is not prohibited in the little light blue areas, the current levee system, which is operated by the Lake Drainage District, this system that they operate is not certified by the Corps of Engineers to withstand flooding or provides reliable flood protection to structures behind them, and therefore they cannot be used to support flood prevention for insurance purposes. So any business that locates there probably shouldn't plan on getting the large part of their insurance covered. Rail spur is also a red herring. For all the reasons noted above, it is unlikely that a rail spur will ever be constructed there. Rationally, there's no other users that could come in to provide sufficient volume or sufficient value over a long period of time to justify the investment of millions of dollars. And they would have the same issues with the whole floodplain situation anyway. And I have several other comments on points that have not come up. The noise berm is interesting. It takes several years before a noise berm develops enough structure to become effective with vegetation. And if their noise is constant, which was talked about, that's just further a huge annoyance. And who at the county is going to be in charge of inspecting the noise berm? Big one we haven't talked about, silica blowing sand. The proposal talks a good game about they're going to prevent this, they're going to have a hard surface that. But if you go look around other sand mine operations, theirs included, that is not what happens. The wind comes up, there is dust everywhere. I've included a few pictures in my attachments here. How is that going to be enforced by the county? We talked about the haul routes. I'll say that no matter what you do, you turn in a big, heavy truck moving slow to go east or west on K32. It is difficult. It is difficult on a good day. And those proposed improvements probably will help, but we don't know when. We don't know who pays for it. And I don't know if KDOT's weighed in on any of these improvements at this point, at this time. The fact that DeSoto of today is not the DeSoto of 7 years ago, quite quaint bedroom community. They're a gigantic boomtown with trucks all over the place coming and going, building stuff. A good case can be made that these trucks should be told to go south on 166th Street, drive through DeSoto, and get on 83rd Street and go east. There are plans in the works for the various communities in that part of Johnson County to improve 83rd Street beginning in 27 over multiple phases. And another fun one buried in the material that we were provided is the railroad crossing at 158th Street. The railroad was proud to inform the applicant that it's the county responsibility to pay for upgrading signals and any other crossing upgrades. That it's perfectly fine for what the railroad put in, and any improvements are 100% county cost. Is that included in any operational plan with the budget or with the applicant? And lastly, property values. There are a lot of nice, expensive homes in this part of the county. There are more coming. And I am pretty sure that the tax from these homes far exceeds anything under any rational thought process about revenue from the sand mine over time. And I would expect that the trucks, dust, noise, and everything else will influence
building new buildings and property values, and not in a positive way. Thank you.
Good evening, Nancy Carpenter, 14681 Carida Road, Bonner Springs, and that also is in Leavenworth County. And I am going to go back over a few things. I know you asked us not to, but as you know, back on November 12, 2025, this commission unanimously voted to recommend that the BOCC deny Kaw Valley's application to excavate and stockpile sand. The applicant has stated that no changes were made to the application that is before you tonight. In fact, Kaw Valley does offer those two new alternatives to their original plans for you to consider or not: the change to the primary route and the option for sales tax. The planning and zoning folks didn't review those since it was the original application that was given to you. So much has happened since November 12th. At the November 25th, 2025 BOCC meeting, we learned that Kaw Valley wanted to postpone their BOCC date, as Misty Brown told us that they wanted, quote, more time to take into account the public comment they heard and address those comments before they come back before the commission. It seems Kaw Valley addressed public comments by working behind the scenes with the county. A January 15th, 2026 email from Aaron March to Misty Brown included the statement, quote, the county wants us to sell more as this will generate more royalty payments and under our revised business model generate more sales tax, end quote. An email dated February 6th, 2026 that was sent on behalf of Mr. March to Ms. Brown included a draft of the, quote, Kaw Valley Development and Road Improvement Agreement, end quote. These communications make it seem like Kaw Valley was forging ahead with plans and was confident that it had the county's backing regardless. Previously, Kaw Valley cited an economic impact analysis that was done by a branch of Wichita State University on their behalf. On May 1st, after unsuccessful attempts to get a copy from Kaw Valley, I was able to secure a copy through a Kansas Open Records request to the General Counsel Office at Wichita State University. Numerous tables break down the direct, indirect, and induced impact of a Kaw Valley operation. To me, it seems that figures are exaggerated, as I imagine that much of the construction would be done by Kaw Valley's own advertised excavation and grading services and employees already on their payroll. I was very surprised when the last page of the analysis noted that, quote, this study used Sedgwick County and its surrounding catchment area to capture the core impact of the economic activity, end quote. Does that seem odd to you? After all the shenanigans, March 25th, 2026 finally rolled around, and Kaw Valley was on the BOC agenda. Alas, all those rumors swirling about prompted the BOCC to send the SUP back to you folks, and here we are. The mission statement of Leavenworth County Planning and Zoning begins by saying that the department, quote, exists to create and maintain a desirable quality of life for all residents, protect our common environments, and promote public health, safety, and welfare, end quote. You know that the desirable quality of life of so many of our residents will be destroyed if sand trucks headed out on our roads, carrying their industry through our residentially zoned areas. You know that our common environments will be plagued by noise, silica dust, and diesel fumes, far beyond the obligatory 1,000-foot notification boundary if sand dredging and sand transport take over the southern end of the county. You know that the health and general welfare of our citizens will be put at risk as the common environments are compromised. You know that the hauling associated with sand operation will make our roads more hazardous, jeopardizing the safety of all who use them. It doesn't matter what perks, Kaw Valley promises, tax revenue, alternate routes, royalties, maintenance. The sound reasoning and evidence-based decision-making that led you to follow the golden factors back in November once again must prevail.
Send a deny the SUP recommendation back to the BOCC and continue to serve your citizens faithfully. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Stacy Schmidt. My address is 17322 Golden Road, and I'm going to wing it right here, right now. I am right in the middle of Golden Road, so it doesn't matter if the trucks turn left, turn right. They're going to go by my house for 50 trips, 120 trips for 25 days, or 25 years. Probably for the rest of my life. I have been listening to a lot of alternatives here tonight. I want you to know that my alternative, and anyone that lives along the route, whether they go Loring, 158th, 166th, 170th, wherever they want to go, because it's not going to be monitored, whether they want to go 32 Highway, go west, 32 Highway, go east. We have two alternatives. All these residents that are in rural residential property. One, we stay there and we put up with this for 25 years. Two, we sell our property that we've worked our butts off for our whole life to age in place where we want to die. Those are our alternatives. I appreciate your logical vote to unanimously deny Kaw Valley's SUP application on November 12, 2025. Unfortunately, the BOCC has sent this back to you for further review. However, there are no revisions or formal amendments. Nothing has changed. There's a lot of what ifs, or possibilities, or maybe. I still live where I live. I don't have a choice. This implies the outcome of tonight's vote should also be the same. No! Upon reading Kaw Valley's application, I was drawn to a statement. It says Kaw Valley's company has a wide operating vision focusing on business safety, efficiency, and the production of high-quality products with a strong emphasis on ensuring a positive community impact. Favorable feedback has not been the reality since this project was first brought public in 2019. This proposed heavy industrial operation, which will frequently generate hazardous or intense nuisance factors, this is stated by the staff, will not have a positive impact on our community. It will have a negative environmental impact as well. Environmental impacts are caused by human activities and natural events that alter ecosystems, with the largest drivers being fossil fuel combustion, industrialization, and land use changes. These actions cause pollution, accelerated climate change, trigger biodiversity loss, and deplete natural resources such as minerals, fresh water, and topsoil. And guess what that topsoil is doing right now? It's raising crops for all of us to eat. Mining and urbanization destroys habitats, diminishes water quality, and reduces the Earth's capacity to absorb carbon dioxide. Mining exhausts natural resources faster than they can recover. These can take millions of years to regenerate. This land will never, ever be the same. I'm respectfully asking you to once more vote, be the voice for this community, be our voice, and send a message again. No sand pit.
Good evening. My name is Rick Frederick. I'm a resident of Leavenworth County. My address is 15225 161st Street. And I've been monitoring and engaged in following this special use permit process for the last 6 years. And I do question the economic benefit to the county. Maybe there's going to be a tonnage tax. I would certainly think so. There's not going to be a sales tax. I hope the sales aren't going to originate out of Leavenworth County. That's why they're hauling it to the processing plant. That's where the point of sale is going to occur. The haul route has always been the problem with this. That area, yes, it's zoned industrial, dating back to 60. The character of this area has changed drastically since then. I mean, there's high-end development of homes that I would speculate, you could say, I would forecast is going to stop. And I have had an opportunity to call the KDOT engineer in Bonner Springs, and the trucks, I believe the gentleman has said they have quality trucks, good drivers. But what his concern was speed differential, meaning, and I assume most of you, as I have, when you're behind a slow-moving truck getting up to speed, you want to get around it, particularly if it's sand and gravel, and so there's likely to be driving risks that are taken passing on that K32 route. Again, whether it goes north, east, or west, I don't think it matters. So that's a problem, and it's a concern. And again, it gets to the point: how do you extract this material? Yeah, we need sand and gravel. I'll be the first one to say that we all benefit from that. But the character of this area has changed, and I've heard talk about railroad spurs, and I've heard a lot of comments and legitimate concerns about, is it average 50 a day? Well, that means, one day 0, another day's 100. That's a lot of truck traffic, right? So after 6 years, I'm disappointed that Kaw Valley hasn't come up with a different way to extract and remove this other than on the public through residential communities that are expanding and growing in Leavenworth County. So with that.
My name is Ralph Wiggins, 12151 DeSoto Road, Linwood, Kansas. Everything that everybody said I agree with 100%. The one thing I'm having a problem understanding is water. When you pull, say if you take a 100 square acres, 5 foot deep, that is 162,900,000 gallons of water. Now, I have a shallow well. As soon as that starts, my well is over. I can't, I don't know, and if it doesn't, everybody else's wells are going to be contaminated. You've got hydraulic fluid, industrial lubricants, all kinds of things. And, so I'd like you to vote no. And everybody else has done a lot better job than me. That's what I got to say.
I'm Todd Donaldson. I live there on Golden Road, 16440. Back in November, Kaw Valley stated that they were going to do 15 acres a year, and now they're coming back and saying they're doing 10 acres a year. So we'll just go with that. This gentleman there. So we're going to go ahead and go with the 10 acres. And these guys are using this 50 loads a day I mean, when you guys do the math, that's why I gave you guys, went ahead and set paper on you, in front of you. I already did the math for you. You guys can be more than welcome to, there you go. You're more than welcome to double check the math. But when you do it, you're looking at 10 acres. So you're going to have approximately 259 loads per day of loading to move that much sand out of there for that 10 acres. And that's going to give you 500 trucks round trip to move that. So that's roughly, that you asked, is about 1.9 acres a year that they're going to move with their 50 trucks. So that's another 8.1 acres that's going to be done by their client. But back in November, he said he's going to use his trucks plus his clients in that meeting. We can go back and listen. So now we got that established. If you guys go back on that back sheet there, I went ahead and made a copy of the Terracon payment report. Because here in the Terracon payment report, those guys based their whole analysis on 120 round trips of a tandem, not a triaxle, not a quad, but a tandem, the lightest tandem you can get. So that truck is only going to be hauling 54,000 legally. So then you had GBA do their traffic study, what, on 120 round trip trucks? Because when you look at the traffic study data, that in the key intersections, it almost shows no increase over the existing condition. Which, how is that possible when you're having an additional 500 trucks on the road? So we're using soil. I mean, this is Terracon. That's their job. So those guys are stating that they're going to this 120 round trips, and then in that bottom there, they also stated that if there's any, there should be notified if there's any operation assumptions don't match the actual plan. So those guys are assuming 120, a light tandem that's going to be going up and down the road, and that's what they did. That's what they based their soil or asphalt analysis. And now we're talking 500 trucks. I mean, I don't even know why we don't even have a true soil report, soil analysis, or asphalt analysis, or even the traffic study if we don't use the correct numbers. I mean, they told us. So this time they're going to go with 10 acres. And you still got to move that much sand. And their trucks are, I'm not arguing, 50 loads. That's what they're going to use. But somebody else is going to be hauling that stuff out, the other 8.1 acres. And I think something has to be, I think it needs to be reviewed again. I mean, math is there. That's all I got.
Ben Morgan, 12548, 158th Street. I agree with everything that's been said so far. I'll just add a couple quick things. The same water table, we're on there. Mr. Sipp that came up here and spoke, there's 19 of us on that well. It's a shared family well. Let's see, 13 of them are kids. You know, a bunch of dogs, chickens, and cats as well. You know, I got no problem with the people that are for this or Call Valley themselves, but I can't see anybody putting themselves in my shoes, being right against this with that going on their driveway. I can't see anybody, if I was the CEO of Call Valley, I wouldn't want that right in front of my house. So I'm glad you guys voted no last time. Nothing's changed. I encourage you to vote no again. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. I'm sure this is not fun. It's hard for me to stand here, so I can't imagine in your shoes. I agree with what everybody has said so far.
We need your name and address.
I'm sorry, yes, sorry, I'm nervous. Jennifer Smith, 158th and Kreider. So I'm right in the territory, being affected. But we've been having these discussions since 2020, and it's really hard to understand why we're still having these discussions. When you look at the residents and the subdivisions, I feel like constantly on the docket there are new houses going in and subdivisions, and I don't understand how this is going to support Leavenworth County and the residents and the people that have believed in Leavenworth County, and to think how this is going to affect myself, my daughter who's going to inherit, and maybe grandkids, my daughter's teacher, the elementary school these trucks are going to go by. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand why Call Valley isn't moving on. Why are we here 6 years later? So that's what I'm begging for you to maybe help me understand. And with all due respect, this is so reminiscent of my 5-year-old going, I'm going to ask you until I get my way. I don't know how else to explain what this looks like from my perspective. So thank you for your time.
Anyone else? As I do this, I'll just start walking. Okay, we now close the. Would the applicant like to address any comments that were presented?
No, Mr. Chairman, unless you all have questions for us.
I think we had some more questions earlier.
Well, a couple have come up, have been kind of come up. Discussion on where you're getting the water. Are you getting it from the river or are you getting it from the aquifer?
Both. I mean,
So you're going to lower the aquifer and plus get it from the river.
Correct. As we excavate out, there'll be a natural filling in of groundwater
From the aquifer.
but we'll also be pumping in from the river.
So there will potentially be an impact on the neighborhoods across the highway from the industrial area.
Everything we do that touches water is going to be monitored by KDHE.
Yeah, but the people brought up an issue that their well, which is at a 35-foot water table, and you're digging to a 50-foot to a 50-foot trench. So, are you then tapping into the aquifer, which would potentially or possibly lower their well, their water table, their wells?
If we do anything detrimental to their well water, if we're the cause, we're liable for it. So we're going to do everything in our power to ensure that we are not doing that. It's a matter of business responsibility, and the liability is on us.
Aaron, to assist, it's actually going to recharge and equalize. That's what happens with the river adjacent. So the water table, if it's affected, is a condition of environmental factors, not the drilling and dredging. It naturally equalizes due to pressure through the sand throughout the site.
I don't know how we account for this, but there's been a lot of talk about, and I asked some questions about traffic and the number of trips. And I'm still not certain that 50 trucks a day, average, can haul out what you're proposing to dredge on an annual basis. I would ask you, before you hit the Board of County Commissioners, to recalculate your traffic. Because I'm not 100% certain that we're getting an accurate look here. You said 50,000 tons per acre.
If we pull out 500,000 tons a year.
Okay.
500,000.
Correct.
Okay,
Tons a
okay.
year. And the trucks carry 25 tons each.
Is that a dual axle? Or is that a tractor trailer? No, let him.
It's a tandem or a dump truck.
Okay, so it's a dump truck with a dual. For 25 tons, you can't go 2 axles.
So
okay,
that would be 200,000. If you divide the 500,000 by 25 tons, you get 200,000. I'm sorry, 20,000 total trips, total truckloads, which would be 55 trips on an annualized basis.
5 by 56. That's what I came up with.
Okay.
55 trips. Yeah.
So, again, rounding that you get 55 trips a year. That's the math.
That's all I have.
Any other questions for him? Okay, thank you, sir. Any other additional information? Public comment portion of the hearing is now closed. Kansas law allows for a petition protesting the decision of the Planning Commission to be filed. That petition must be filed within 14 calendar days after the date of the public hearing. Additional information on the filing of a protest petition can be obtained from the Office of Planning and Zoning. Are there questions or comments from the members of the commission that we have not covered? Okay. I will entertain a motion for the request, on this request.
Mr. Chairman, I find the special use permit does not comply with Golden Factor number 6 and move to recommend, since there's been no change to the application, denial to the Board of County Commissioners as outlined in case DEV 25-021.
Second.
One moment, if I could get you to provide some detail of how it doesn't comply with number 6 for the record, please.
Specifically, that the application for special use permit would adversely affect either public health, safety, morals, or convenience, prosperity, or general welfare. More detail on that?
I think we do need some
Okay.
more details for the record.
I think that there could be additional effect on the general prosperity based on reduction of property value of adjacent properties. I think there could be a reduction in the health and safety based on some factors of the transportation. And I guess general welfare is pretty broad, but I don't see there being a positive general welfare, so I'm going to go with adverse general welfare.
And does the second agree with that rationale or have additional rationale?
I agree with everything that he said, yes.
Well, I'd have to weigh in that, we're still wrestling after 6 years with the character of the neighborhood. You've got high-end development 5, RR5 across Golden Road. I recognize that south of Golden Road it is industrial, it's zoned industrial, it's for industrial, but the industrial zone shares a residential zone. And so the question becomes, who do we look for priority? Do we look for the safety of our citizens and therefore the character of the neighborhood? Even though south of it is industrial, north of it it's not. And so I think we have to look at the character of the neighborhood in total. And so I personally would probably add Golden Factor 1, or I would recommend, Josh, that we add Golden Factor 1 to the discussion, or to the motion. The motion.
We're in discussion, right?
Yeah. I didn't say it, but we
No, okay.
you got to jump into it.
I agree with the challenge created by the two being against each other in the comprehensive plan. I didn't specifically list one because of the long history of the zoning of the property, and so I'm trying to respect that for the landowners, but also respect the landowners across the street. So I'm willing to restate the motion. Is that the approved way you would like for me to add?
You can amend your motion to include 1 with 6 if you like, as long as the second also agrees.
All right. So I'm willing to amend my motion for denial to add factor 1, based as stated on the complications of having residential abut the industrial zones.
You still agree? Yep. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot, guys. If we're going to say we can't have industrial and residential together, that's not true. You can go right out there on Eisenhower. We put in an industrial park. Mr. Riley had no problem selling 250 homes, literally butting right up to a dog food plant. There's more issues here than and I get it. This thing's been zoned since 1962 industrial. When I hear these people say, well, we bought our home, 25 years ago. Well, did your realtor tell you were buying right across the road from an industrial park? I just bought 25 acres. My first question is, what's across the road over there? Oh, that's 660 acres of farmland. Been in the family for 95 years. They're never going to sell. I'm like, yep, that's the 20 acres I want to buy. I could have bought another 20 acres on up the road on Amelia Earhart, and right where we're getting a co-op right across the street right now. But I didn't. I did my research. I did due diligence. I researched what I was buying. We're not stuck in 1950 anymore. Leavenworth County is going to see an influx of businesses in the next 5 years, and especially in the southern part of our county. I mean, are we going to say no to every business that wants to come in? And I couldn't ask. I was told strictly by council, Robert, you can't ask for those things. That's illegal, and you can't strong arm a business. I didn't ask for them. They came forward. They're willing to pay a tonnage fee. They're willing to pay, they say, $3 million. This project ain't going to happen for another 2-3 years. They're going to pay $4.5–5 million. I mean, asphalt's not going down, and labor's definitely not going down. So if we don't do it now, we're getting a handout the way I see it. I mean, they're going to put up $3–4 million to give to the county to operate a business here. They're willing to do retail sales. Put in the deal. Make BOCC. We go to the meetings. Hey, you put a retail sales office, you sell in Leavenworth County to Geigers and Pennies. We got concrete plants right here in our hometown that buy that material. And more importantly, is the sand they're initially going for. I've done some research. I've looked at this whole project. We're not talking run-of-the-mill playground sand. We're going to use this in concrete and fiberglass. We're talking superfine sand that we're going to use in computer chips, guidance systems, and who knows what else. This ain't run-of-the-mill product. This, as I see it, could be a national security issue down the road 25 years. I mean, and I'm outreaching here, and I get you don't like what I'm saying, but I'm tired of my taxes doubling every year on my property, and businesses, we turn them away every day. No data center. Well, this and that.
Robert,
I want to know the bottom line.
these are all hypotheticals, not about this case. We need to talk about the specifics of this case, not things that are up in the air.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I also look at the road. We've been 6 years, there have been no improvements to the road. Okay? The road was a problem in 2019 and 20. The road is a problem today. The road is my issue. I understand the owner of the land wants to use it for his intent, and I agree with that. But I got to tell you, the road is a problem, and just a 5-inch coating does not necessarily satisfy what the homeowners on the north side are going to deal with. And so, at what point does that economic development, because there will be no other down there. Lisa from the LCDC said it's a floodplain unless they intend to expand sand operations to the west.
I didn't hear her say that. I never heard her say that.
You
We're
said
not going to
that
have another
the chance
commercial.
of economic development down in that area was none.
There's plenty of opportunity. It just is that is a floodplain area, and this particular project is uniquely suited for that area.
Right. And so, got it.
I'm just trying to, my motion is attempting to be rooted purely in facts with no speculation. And so I go back to 6 specifically again, and it says relative gain to economic development, public health, safety, and welfare. And on those 4 items, I'm a no.
No, forget number 1.
Number 1 is in my motion. I have less points to add to number 1.
So we ready to vote?
Yep.
Okay, roll call vote. Andrew Gribble?
No. Just to clarify, if you
You're
vote
voting-
yes,
you're
it's
voting
yes for
no
denial.
is a yes.
Yeah.
Robert?
To clarify what? A no is a yes?
A yes is to deny that.
Yes is to deny, no is to approve.
Then I'm a yes. I'm denying your motion.
No, you're denying the SUP if you vote yes.
Oh. No. No. I think we should pass the SUP.
Steve?
I am voting yes to deny the motion based on golden factor 6 and 1 as stated in the motion.
Doug?
Yes.
William?
No.
Say my name? No. Eden? I am voting yes for golden factors 6 and 1 as defined. I see no changes submitted, and I don't see anything that's changed. Jaden?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses, 3 noes to deny. Is that right?
5 yeses. 3.
5 yeses, sorry. 5 to 3. So it's 5 to 3 to deny. Motion denied. Motion, okay. The Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than June 3rd, 2026 at 9 a.m. in the Leavenworth County Courthouse.
Can I request that staff notify us specifically when an issue has been recommended for denial to the Board of Commissioners? I mean, I try to keep up on it, but
We can notify you when it makes it to the agenda.
thank you.
give them a couple minutes.
I didn't have the gavels.
We have one more. Yeah. Two more.
I knew this crowd.
Yeah.
Most of the crowd came in before we adjourned.
We have more stuff.
Two more.
Okay.
Okay, we ready? 9E, the Leavenworth County Planning Commission will consider case DEB-26-015 special use permit for a wireless communication facility, communication tower, for Tillman Infrastructure Communication as outlined in the posted agenda. This requires a public hearing. Public comment portion will be limited to 5 minutes. Planning staff will now give the staff report.
All right. He's going to shut the door. I'll try and speak loud. Case DEB 26015 is a special use permit request on behalf of Tillman Infrastructure to build a telecommunications tower on the property located at 15076 214th Street. This property is currently zoned RR5, which is rural residential 5 acres. A telecommunications wireless facility is a special use permit in our regulations in that zoning district, so that is why they are before you here today. If you run through the application, you will know that the proposed tower is to be located in the northwest corner of the property up near I-70. They are proposing to lease a 1 acre site within that property, as you can somewhat see here, from the current landowners in order to construct this communications tower. They will be using the existing driveway and coming off that with their own private drive up to support the tower. This tower, as you know, on communication towers would operate 24/7. They only anticipate people coming to the site about once a month for maintenance purposes or as needed if something were bad to occur. So not a lot of traffic that is proposed after construction of the tower has been completed. I will note, and I'm sure you noted in my staff report, that telecommunications facilities are heavily regulated not only at the local level but at the state and federal level. And in fact, we have regulations in place that predate the most recent state statutes in regards to what we locally can regulate for telecommunication towers. So we did our best to outline what our regulations state and in comparison to what state statute allows and doesn't allow. So some of the big things that to note about this is it is a 190-foot, 5-foot telecommunications tower plus a 4-foot lightning rod that would be attached at the top. So in total, a 199-foot tower. It is a monopole tower, so self-supporting. There's no lines or anything that would connect it to the ground aside from what you see there in that structure. They are proposing that this structure can support antenna arrays at 3 different locations on the tower and can accommodate 3 separate carriers. We talked about the gravel driveway. They are proposing to install a 6-foot screening fence and landscaping to reduce the visual impact from the right-of-way and adjoining properties. They have, it was noted during the review process that currently Evergy does not have the capacity to support electric service to this tower at the site at this time. However, the applicant has been in contact with Evergy about expanding the network to allow for that, and Evergy has confirmed that they are in works with the applicant to be able to extend electricity to this site to support it. No additional utilities are anticipated for this tower. They won't need water, they won't need gas, they won't need anything like that. So when you get to the county's regulations as a whole, like I said, they have been outlined in your staff report with staff's response to them. I wanted to note that there's specifically 2 of those criteria that's in our regulations that we cannot enforce because of a change in state statute. That includes criteria number 1, which states that applicants must provide documentation acceptable to the Planning Commission that existing structures within an approximate 1-mile radius of the proposed location are not available for co-location. There is a tower within a mile radius of this. It's actually right across I-70 on the north side. However, state statute did change, and they removed our local ability to require that regulation be enforced. They do not have to provide us with their business decisions on why they chose the location that they did per state statute. The second one that prohibited us from requiring anything was number 3. Any application for a tower in excess of 150 feet in height shall include supported testimony of an RF engineer or other licensed professional engineer substantiating the need for the requested height. We cannot, again, require anything. However, we can require them a letter that states that they did calculate out their business decision, and this is the best business decision for them. So, again, that is another requirement that we cannot regulate. However, they did provide a letter from an engineer stating that they did consider all of those factors, and this is the best business decision for their proposal. Staff went through the remainder of those factors, and we provided our analysis and have felt that all of the 9 criteria that's listed in our regulations have been met with the applicant's request. In addition, staff is recommending approval of this request, and we have outlined staff recommended conditions for you located up here. I will leave it at that, but if you have any other specific questions, please let me know.
Number 5.
Okay.
They responded that they don't have to apply to that because they're not 200 foot. And it struck me that they're just magically 199.
Me too, by design.
By design, I'm sure.
By design, so they don't have to have FAA warning lights.
Exactly. They're in an agricultural area, so are we going to ban crop dusting, and are we going to disallow flyovers of private airplanes? I don't think so.
We do not have that authority. That fully lies within the federal government's authority. So as long as they meet all regulatory requirements of the FAA, FCC, and all other entities that regulate that, they would be in compliance with our local regulations.
Maybe we should have an ordinance that says you need a light on a tower.
Well, what you'll
I think
find,
you just said suck it up.
What you'll find is that the FCC has made a considerable amount of changes over the last 10 years. The things that come to mind are 5G antennas. And they rolled out one day and said, you no longer have control over 5G antennas. We'll stick them wherever we want to stick them, on any building we feel like sticking them on. And when that happens, you are stripped of your local authority. So there's very little regulatory authority left at a local level for these types of towers. However, they're very common, and the plus to being located in an agricultural area is that you don't have housing density around it that you have to worry about should you have that fall radius impacting a number of different structures. That you don't have that in this particular situation. So
if a plane hits it and it falls, we don't have to worry about it.
Well, if the plane's flying that low.
Yes.
Yeah, again, they have to comply with all the state and federal regs.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay, let me run down through the conditions again before I. No, next page, please. I'd already been through those.
Sorry.
Was there another page? Was there any? Yeah, was the Evergy piece just to make certain that we were covered? That's not covered in an actual condition. Do we need to?
No, you're allowing them a certain right to construct the tower, which they typically can't construct unless they can power it.
Okay.
So you're assigning rights to a piece of property, not necessarily the construction of the.
Okay. That just struck me when I saw that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Upon opening the public comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either against this item or start over. Upon opening the public comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition will give your name and address each time you begin to speak. This is necessary since the public hearing is being recorded. The public comment portion is now open. Does the applicant wish to speak? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Irwin. I'm the applicant. My address is 5607 West 130th Street, Overland Park. Yes, so I represent Tillman Infrastructure, the tower owner, and Amy's done a very good job summarizing it, and in the interest of brevity, I'll just kind of touch on some of the questions that you guys asked, so feel free to, if you have any other questions, I'll field them. I think most importantly, I'd like to address your issue, sir, about the FAA. We do file with the FAA, and we have received a letter of we've received a no hazard determination. Every tower that we build is filed with the FAA, with the FCC and the FAA. The FCC is the enforcement arm of the FAA. It has been. We do have, like I said, a letter issued of no hazard determination, and we did select the 199-foot elevation because we don't want to have it lit. We don't want to be more of a nuisance than we absolutely need to be. But I will remind everybody that since it is filed with the FAA, it'll be on the notice of airmen. They'll have notification of where the tower is located, the latitude and longitude, and the elevation of it above mean sea level. So I think that should alleviate some of your concerns about an airplane or any kind of aircraft hitting it. One of the other things I do want to make the point of is we're constructing this for three carriers. That is our business model. We've got a long-term contract, not only for the land with the Olschlagers that are here with me this evening, but also we have a long-term contract with AT&T to be an anchor tenant on this. We do intend to market it to the other carriers in the area, that the Verizons, the T-Mobiles, and any of the other wireless providers. So that is the core, our core business model. And I think everything else is pretty much speaks for itself.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, sir. We will now hear from those individuals present wishing to speak in favor of the request. We'll now hear. You guys want to say anything? Will there those individuals present wish to speak in opposition of this request? With the applicant, skip that part. Is there any additional information to be presented?
No, sir.
Okay. Public comment portion is here closed. Kansas law allows for a petition protesting the decision of the Planning Commission to be filed. That petition must be filed within 14 calendar days after the date of the public hearing. Additional information on the filing of a protest petition can be obtained from the Office of Planning and Zoning. Are there any questions or comments from the members of the commission?
What was our length on this one again, Josh? Could you go back to 20 years? Okay. Thank you. That's what I need to know.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I find that the special use permit request complies with the golden factors and move to recommend approval to the Board of County Commissioners of the request as outlined in case DEV 26-015 based on the recommendation of planning staff, and the finding is set forth in the staff report.
Second. Third. Is there discussion of the motion? Roll call vote. Andrew Gribble?
Yes.
Robert Owens?
Yes.
Steve Skeet?
Yes.
Doug Tystead?
Yes.
William Vacek?
Yes.
Daniel Clemens?
Yes.
Jaden Bailey?
Yes.
Joshua Zinger?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than June 3rd, 2026 at 9 a.m. in the Leavenworth County Courthouse. Moving on. Leavenworth County Planning Commission will now consider the case DEV-26-048. Consideration of the 2026 Annual Comprehensive Plan Review as outlined in the posted agenda. This requires a public hearing. Public comment limited to 5 minutes per person. Planning staff will now give the staff report.
All right, last case of the night, DEV 26048. This is your annual comprehensive plan review. As required by KSA 12747, you guys must review your comprehensive plan annually and provide any recommendations you see fit to the Board of County Commissioners if you feel that something should be modified or amended. The planning staff did bring this to you guys in a work session back in February. And we did discuss all of staff recommended amendments, which is 1. And then we also went through our annual report, which is essentially just updating you what strategies have been completed, amending the timelines for them, which is not a formal amendment of the actual comprehensive plan. That's just an amendment of the matrix that we keep for each strategy. So again, we're bringing that back to you because based off of the comments we received, there were no substantial comments to change anything. So again, we are recommending 1 amendment to the comprehensive plan, and that is specifically to strategy 4, which is review the plan periodically and strategically, prepare an annual progress report, but specifically conduct an internal update of the plan the current plan states 3 to 5 years. However, we are recommending to amend that to 5 to 10 years due to the fact that the growth patterns currently happening in the county do not seem to support a 3 to 5 year review cycle. Now that might change in the future, and we can always bring that back. And if you guys feel during the annual review process that growth cycle during that year has changed, we can always revisit it. But this is just a recommendation. Again, we are recommending a 5 to 10 year review cycle instead of 3 to 5. So if you have any questions about the amendment or the progress report, please let us know.
Maybe we should make an amendment on land use around zoned industrial areas.
Not yet. Again, if we think that there's going to be a considerable change in land use and density in the southern part of the county starting next year, when some of these plans come into fruition from adjoining counties, it will certainly have impact to Leavenworth County. We're going to have to probably ask for budget dollars to amend, if you recall the conversation, to amend a number of modules within the plan. That's the time to have that conversation because it impacts multiple components of your plan. So we do anticipate that. Some of these things we should be able to react to next year during this time frame, and we can get into a much deeper discussion. But we don't want to make those changes now preemptively before we see any plan, before any of those supposed changes happen. That ball needs to start rolling down the hill before we react from a fiscal standpoint or a policy standpoint.
The change to strategy 4, an internal update, is not a new comprehensive plan.
No, it's not.
But it's more than the annual review.
It's right. It's from a staff level. You're evaluating every portion of the plan. It weighs into, again, it's from a strategy component. It weighs into what we report to you. We say, okay, we see a change in growth pattern. We see these public improvements that will impact. We see big employers coming to a particular area with logical density changes in this area, so we need to focus in these particular areas. It just extends that out a little further at a county level. In my view, it's 5 to 10 years. 3 to 5 is very municipal. In an extremely high density urban environment, 3 to 5 is practical. In a county environment, 5 to 10 is far more practical.
Not specific to strategy 4, because I think that makes sense. The change we talked about previously, we submitted. Can an update to the comprehensive plan be done on a regional basis? Like, can you do half the county and review planning, like actual zoning, in reaction to changes like 1 to 2 years from now? Because it's a big budgetary issue.
Your future land use plan?
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, future land use plans typically are tied together. I would never tell you to evaluate one half of the county without evaluating the other half of the county. There are plenty of regional plans out there that go outside of Leavenworth County that take in impacts that we weigh into every year to the MARC process and through a number of different processes. So there are current plans that exist out there. We don't stand on an island alone. So we evaluate that. We bring that to you when there's something that will impact. And again, I think we're going to start seeing those impacts in 2027.
Because what's the date of our current?
2020.
So, yeah.
So typically in my...
We might be at the early end of it, but with major changes a year from now, if we had budget and start asking for money.
Truly, you wait in a comprehensive plan, in my view, to make major changes until you have major impacts.
Right.
That's going to be big employers, large impacts in adjoining counties that will certainly affect densities. What comes to mind, if you have a large business park or entertainment area, you're probably going to have much higher density residential in a particular area that may be currently slated at 2.5 or 5. That's not going to work. 3 units an acre probably is going to work. But to get the 3 units an acre, you're going to have utilities. So you're going to have to see where one ties into the next. So we're going to have to spend a little bit of money and address that with consultants along with staff. And we'll come back to the commission and say this is what we believe we need to do.
Have we thought about how we're going to get more money, John? Because the state's going to require us to go negative revenue neutral next year. That's
only a couple of ways to accomplish that task, but it's certainly not.
I believe the BOCC is going to go $4 million under revenue neutral. They're going to vote on that here real quick. So we're cutting funding, but now we're going to ask for more funding.
Well, again, I don't anticipate asking for that funding in this budget cycle. And there may be changes that occur in the next 12 to 24 months that may affect budgets, that may affect what we do for the next 4 years. For me, I don't want to react until I have it in front of me. I don't want to try to anticipate and ask for funds when we have situations like that. So we're trying to be fiscally responsible and do modular updates versus coming in with a whole new plan at $300,000 to $400,000 in today's dollars. It just, for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense while I'm here to do that. When we can do it in a modular fashion and save a lot of money.
I think they're being conservative on that cost.
Well, again, in a modular component, I'm confident I can make it happen. I've done a lot of those plans, but you're right. Today's cost is extremely higher than any before it. But I think I can manage a consultant and encompass what we need to happen in that 3 to.
I have faith in you.
I think I can make it happen. I got one more left in me.
Okay. Upon opening this public comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition of your name and address each time you speak. Is this necessary since the public hearing is being recorded? Public comment portion of the hearing is now open. Is there any individuals wish to speak? Is there any additional information to be presented?
No, sir.
Public comment portion of the hearing is now closed. Are there questions or comments from the members of the commission? I will entertain a motion on this request.
Mr. Chairman, I find that the Planning Commission has complied with KSA 12-747 by conducting an annual review of the county's comprehensive plan and hereby recommend approval of DEV 26048 amended to the Leavenworth County Comprehensive Plan as set forth in the staff report.
Second.
Go ahead.
Roll call vote. There is discussion of the motion. Roll call vote. Andrew Gribble.
Yes.
Robert Owens.
Yes.
Steve Skeet.
Yes.
Doug Tyson.
Yes.
William Butchett.
Yes.
Daniel Clemens.
Yeah.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Joshua Zinger.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than 9 a.m. on June 3rd, 2026 in the Leavenworth County Courthouse. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Meeting adjourned.